sex is just sex.
Candace Owens goes on whatever podcast. It's just dropped yesterday, and we're super excited to react to it. There's some controversial things that are said.
I can taste the controversy.
We want to, our ghost producers gave us. So we have the Viking here and my brother David. We're super excited.
We're only doing one clip because I don't think I could.
No, I couldn't watch the whole thing.
To watch the entire thing would put a hole in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only stomach so much low IQ from so many people at one time.
Yeah, apparently this was a very heated conversation.
Well, Candace Owens is on it, so this is
the only reason why.
Well, this is why we're reacting. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, let's see.
Sex is just sex. Like, it's just sex. And
just
when you have a partner, you have an emotional connection with them. And so, like, the guy on your last podcast, he was on here a few days ago, he was saying how, like, for men, sex is just sex. But, like, spending time with a woman and, like, buying her things and, like, going on trips with her is, like, different than...
Hold on. So it becomes different when you buy a girl something and take her on trips. Isaac, do you want someone to take you on trips and buy you things so you can be emotionally attached to them? Or do you want to... Is that your way of connecting with a woman, is just buying her things and taking her on trips?
That sounds so shallow.
Also, for women, it's different.
It is different. Man.
Yeah.
Women and men are different. And it is true. Like, from an emotional standpoint, sex is a lot less meaningful to men than it is to women.
If they're being promiscuous. If you're married, it's different.
Yeah. I mean, we're just like, oxytocin doesn't affect our brain the same way it does for women.
Yeah.
Like, we aren't designed to pair bond anywhere near as quickly as women do.
Let's keep going.
having sex with just random people. And that's why they were like in an open relationship or whatever.
Can I just have you scoot your mic that way a little bit? Yeah, perfect.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't say that like swapping DNA is like just sex. I mean, a man leaves a piece of himself inside of you.
But man, that's the way they think. And like for women, we get attached to them emotionally, having sex with them.
Which is why it's more of a, when women have a lot of partners, it is different. It is worse in a way, and people don't want to admit that. But because we are more emotional, there is an attachment. It isn't just sex for women. I think women are damaged by those relationships. Women like to think because of the social simulation that it can just be sex, it's whatever. Non-committal, the only people that benefit from that lie are men. It is not great to have sex and have a man not call you back. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't matter if a BuzzFeed article says it does. I had a wonderful weekend and this is why I had sex and didn't worry about it. You feel used, and especially I would say if you're not a sex worker and a man does that and never calls you back, and you don't even have money to show for it. I think it diminishes your self-worth even more than your worth to a man.
The reason why I say sex is just sex is because in our line of work, we see it as transactional, right? Especially when we're working. And then at the end of the day, they go home to their wives or whatever, right? And it's like you're emotionally being there for them and taking care of them and doing all this, that, or the other.
So then sex clearly isn't just sex. It's also emotional.
Yeah, you kind of defeated your own freaking point there.
Oh, that's just so gross.
Blah, blah.
So,
they just go home to their husbands.
Okay, all right. Gotta bring a little bit of science into this because this is so wrong on so many levels.
This is hurting my brain, bro.
For one, when women have sex with a man, they're designed to receive. And they receive information from us. Like, we do the business and like quite literally certain genes start to express within them after they have sex.
The DNA swap that came.
DNA swap.
I love how you stated. I'm going to bring some science into this. So women are designed to receive.
They're designed to receive DNA. Their body takes that DNA, takes that information, and certain genes start to express that never expressed before.
That's very interesting.
Because there's DNA swapping as like I said.
Yeah, not to mention sex is not just sex. As a female, your pH balance will shift when you have sex. So if you're just having sex with random people, your pH is going to be thrown all over the place.
Is that why when women have sex with multiple partners, their face starts to break out, they start to have hormonal imbalances, they start to get aggravated easier?
You never knew you were going to get so much information. I love it.
It can be.
Yes.
It can be, yes. But I was saying, according to the guy that he had on the last podcast, he said that for men, sex is just sex. And that
I disagree with the idea that sex doesn't harm, or casual sex wouldn't harm a man or does harm women, or that sex is just sex. I think a lot of people tell themselves that, but I think it can like lead to a lifestyle of just like pure hedonism, whether you're like a man or a woman, and that can be like dangerous because then you're losing, sight of other things that you value or other aspects of life. So I don't really think I think for some people that can be true, but I think for the majority of people, like there's a reason why a lot of people are only into monogamy, or why that's been like the norm for a lot of cultures. And I think most people are a little bit hardwired to kind of seek out those intimate relationships. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I think that's how most people are, where casual sex can be harmful.
And I think it can definitely be harmful for men. I want to be clear. I'm saying that it's different for men and it's different for women, but I don't agree with the statement sex is sex. It's just sex at all.
And it's natural to be like attracted to a lot of different people. You know what I mean? So it's like.
But that comes with self-control. I think attraction is one thing, and acting on those needs or wants by sleeping with multiple people I don't understand that.
I'm fascinated that the girl in orange says sex is just sex for men because the guy on the last podcast said that. That's her only way of any evidence that she gave towards that was just saying, well, the guy on the last podcast said that.
Well, when it comes to the actual hormonal side of things, like, so the way that it works in men, oxytocin, its effect on the brain is similar for both men and women. The problem is, however, is testosterone levels. Testosterone in general is an anti-oxytocin. So for the beginning of a relationship, of an intimate relationship, it takes a long time for men to pair bond with you because of the fact that we have higher testosterone levels, and testosterone is an anti-oxytocin. Our brain does not pair bond the same way women's do until about the 4-year mark. Because after a while, our testosterone levels will start to drop after being in an intimate relationship. They will drop far enough for oxytocin to affect our brain and for us to pair bond with you the way you pair bond with us almost immediately. But by and large, like when it comes to the promiscuous culture, like, yeah, for men, sex is really just sex.
And that's the hookup culture in today's society is disgusting. I mean, just feeling like as a man, your desire to have sex doesn't mean you should. So delayed self-gratification, having discipline in every area of your life, not just financially, emotionally, or spiritually, it's also sexually. If you don't have discipline in that area, it's going to affect every other area. Mm-hmm. And direct.
Well, and a lot of that is our opinion too. We're giving our opinion on how we've seen it resulted. That's not as much scientific base as what Jordan said. Like, we do believe that having, discipline in every area of your life is going to make you a stronger man. But I like the science. I'm not discounting what you said. I think I agree with it. But I think, Jordan, what you said is going into the science of how it can be harmful, especially for women. Because if you're like, just for men, sex is sex. I mean, if a guy is doing it all the time, he's going to get numb to that fact, and then it's going to be tough for him to enjoy other things. There's a lot of things that come into play when you're going out and just sleeping with everybody. Even beyond that, there's a lot of physical problems from STDs and other things that can result.
Yeah.
But the whole pair bonding thing is fascinating to me because it's showing how men and women connect and want to then be there for each other. When does it become emotional as opposed to just being a physical thing? You know?
And I mean, the science does back up that promiscuity is bad for men. It's just not bad for us in an immediate pair bonding sense. Okay. It's bad for us in the sense that it trains our dopaminergic system to feel rewarded by essentially pump and dumps. Like
Yeah.
our brain doesn't feel the reward. It doesn't feel stimulation by being a provider, by being a protector, by being disciplined and choosing to love someone even though you might not like them in that instance. You know, things like that. It does statistically start to affect our ability to be that man later on down the road.
I also think it's very important to mention that from all the people I know, those that were promiscuous for a long period of time, I'm talking about men, once they actually got into a committed relationship, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for them to connect because they're expecting that thing that was considered to be wrong. I know people that have gotten divorced purely because the man could not get off or he couldn't sexually connect.
Erectile dysfunction, that has to do with pornography.
Not even erectile dysfunction. It's just that they couldn't do it unless it was considered to be bad in their mind. And so that makes it extremely difficult when you get married, because I mean, as the married person here, I'm saying, like, I was blessed. I was a virgin when I got married, you know, and so I was able to connect fully with my wife. But I know people that have opened up to me when I've talked with them, some of my boys that have had so much sex before they were married, just going on sprees all the time. And then once they got married, it didn't meet the expectation they thought it would be. And therefore they they would have to picture other women while having sex with their wife because they just couldn't connect. And so I think that's something important that they're not mentioning. Sex is not just sex. Maybe in that moment it is, but the long-term consequences of doing that will make it incredibly difficult if you ever want to settle down and get married.
Did you want to come in on this?
I guess I don't. What do you mean?
Like,
I don't understand why
not in
would
response
you.
to her, but just the
in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the idea that sex is just sex. When I was younger, I definitely had a lot more, like casual sexual relationships, not one night stands or anything by that measure, more like situationship. And as I got older, my views on it kind of changed, and you do feel differently when, like you were saying, it doesn't feel good to hook up with somebody and not have them call you back. So I actually was celibate for about 2 years before I met my partner, doing OnlyFans and everything else.
Your current partner?
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't sleeping with anybody. I stuck to it very hard because I just didn't really like the feeling of sleeping with somebody and then getting an emotional attachment to them. So I think that certain people, because everybody is different, I don't think that it's that black and white. But I think to some people and to some women and to some men, casual sex really is just sex, whether they're leaving DNA or not. I think that there are people that do actually feel that way because I've met women that are like that. But for me, it is not that simple. And I don't think that it's that simple for most women.
Because I would also like to raise that we are 4 or 5 generations now into women empowerment. I am beginning to question if women who have previously ruined their ability to pair bond, then have kids and raise those girls to also ruin their ability to pair bond. And then those women have kids. And it's gotten to a point now where the women we're dealing with in today's society simply cannot pair bond because they now have previous generations of women who had also ruined their brain's ability to pair bond.
So you're saying it can be a genetically passed
I think it's starting to become a genetic thing for some women.
It's perverting what actual women empowerment is.
Yeah.
Like what actual women empowerment is getting married, having children, raising them to have morals and ethics, and not wanting to do the hookup culture, not wanting to go out and sleep with just anybody. Actually saying, no, you're actually valuable as a woman because you're waiting. Yeah. Because you're not just throwing it out there like a commodity. You know your value and your worth enough to be with a good man that wants to protect and provide and care and partner with you in those moments. But you can literally see she's trying to talk herself out of it.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to make it okay. Truth is in this scenario is not relative. You can't make everything relative and say, well, they just did it because of this reason, or they did it because of this reason. Everybody is different, but deep down in every human being's psyche, we're all the same in a lot of ways. What the need to be validated, the need to be loved, the need to not want to have, sleep with 50 bodies like Fresh and Fit says to be validated as a man. You don't need to do that. Influencers on YouTube and men are following this stuff. They're actually following men saying that you can be sexually promiscuous as a reward for all of these other disciplines that you have, which is just so backwards.
Well, the problem is it just feeds into the problem that they're preaching against. It's like, okay, you don't want promiscuous women. You want nice, pure, holy women. But at the same time, like, you're being promiscuous. How are you promiscuous, sleeping with promiscuous women and complaining about the promiscuity?
It's a double standard.
It's a double standard. You can't.
It's tough because everybody thinks about things just so short term.
Yeah.
Microwave, yeah.
It's a microwave generation at times.
Fast food, man.
And it makes me just sad because they're not thinking long term how that's going to affect their family, how that's going to affect their their relationships, being able to get married and having a healthy relationship where you both can trust that you're going to not cheat on each other, because if you're used to sleeping around, it makes it way more likely you're going to cheat on each other. Virgins that get married are much less likely to cheat on the other than those.
Statistically proven.
It's proven that. And so I'm not saying you have to be a virgin to get married, but I'm saying by sleeping around all the time and thinking that it's just sex, you're damaging yourself in so many different ways. But
yeah, that was an interesting video. I look forward to seeing more of it. Candace really didn't say much, but I can tell she's upset.
She's just sitting there like, what?
She's really sad, actually.
Really sad.
She's just like, who am I sitting with? These women actually believe this?
Yeah, this girl. Well,
they're talking themselves into it.
It's really the girl in orange.
It's really sad.
She's lost.
It's just so sad. You can see it in her eyes, like the desperation, the hopelessness. Like she would love a good man.
Most women would prefer to be with one person, but
yeah, but if you're doing OnlyFans all the time and expecting your man to come into that equation, men are very territorial. I don't want to date someone that's doing OnlyFans and like taking off all their clothes and just showing their body off to the world for subscriptions and for money. That's sex work at its core.
Disgusting.
it's tough.
It's
man.
it's just a tough world, and it's I don't know. That's it.
Well, it's them giving away all of their value. It would be like a woman loving you and respecting you because you're rich, but like every dollar you get, you just gave it away.
You just burn it.
You just burn it. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys. This was a different kind of video.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Let us know your thoughts, because we're kind of puzzled by some of their answers. As you can tell.
Sex just sex?
Is sex just sex? But
It's not. If there's any women watching, don't ruin your ability to pair bond. Just don't do it.
Pair bonding. All right, well, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next video. We have other reaction videos right here.
Right here?
Right
And then
here.
there's another one right here.
All right, and don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate you guys.
All right, peace.